Right, everyone, I'm back. Whew, sorry, been a while again. Back with my thinking hat on today. Yeah, you know, pencil at the ready. Yeah, so today what we're going to do is we're going to start replacing this. So this being a YD25 cylinder head, YD25 turbo manifold. As you can see here, cracked all the way around. So what we're going to do is, also, so this nasty thing here, EGR, yuck, no one wants that stuff. So yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to set up our own and turn that and that into something more turbo manifoldish. Cool. Thanks, let's get into it. So like I said, let's turn that into something a little better. Right, so there's just the log manifold part, turbo flange, and the actual flange from the manifold itself. So that'll go there, that'll get welded onto there, and then eventually somewhere around here, depending on the spacing, will be where the turbo flange actually sits. So let's look at our cylinder head here. So we've got the head. What we need to work out is that reference here to the turbo flange. So we can have some kind of idea of where that turbo flange sits, because we want to put our turbo back into the factory location for the time being. So what I've come up with, rather simple, rather crude, right? Is just, hang on, let me bolt it in. So literally just using a couple of rocker cover bolts in the top surface of the head, bolt that down flush to the head so that it doesn't move, then welded that brace on there, and that gives me a flat plane and the right angle and the correct position for the turbo flange. So what we'll do now is we'll get the turbo manifold on there. I'll tack the actual manifold on to the flange, and then what we'll do is we'll also tack the turbo flange to this pipe, and then that way it'll give us that distance on here on what we need to make and the correct angle of where we're going to put our hole in our long manifold to run our turbo riser up from. Alright, so let's get into that. Alright, so I was kind of spared you the boring part where we welded it together and like tacked it on the flange, but that's kind of where we're at now. So we've got next door chopping something down. Hello, Leia. Come on, thank you. Right, yeah, so that's where we're at. So we've now got turbo flange clocked onto our jig there. We've got our up pipe into the turbo. It's basically sort of set up on the manifold. Basically, I've marked it out now where it's got to be hole sawed and then die grinded so I can get it in there and then weld it in. Yeah, that's practically it. And then what I'll have to do is I'll have to drill this flange face for the studs. I'm going to put studs back in it like the original one, but yeah, it's kind of where we're at right now. So what I'm going to do is now I'll hole saw that out and then yeah, start hitting it with the die grinder. Oh, hang on, we have other pest in here to say good day. Story of my life. And then we'll start welding it all up. What I need to do is I need to go and get some more nuts so that I can bolt it down flat on the head surface, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bolt it flat on the head surface and then weld the majority of it as best as I can, and then that way it hopefully should keep that flange flat or as flat as possible, and then I'll just deck it on my belt, stand it up on the bench there, so it should be reasonably good. Obviously still got a gasket in there and everything like that, but yeah. So I don't know, I'm kind of about, I reckon probably about maybe halfway into it, and yeah, I don't think it's going to turn out too bad. It's all in factory location, so factory turbo will fit in that location. So yeah, I can set it up like that until I get fancy and maybe end up compound turboing it. We'll see how we go. But yeah, that's it for now. I'll hole saw that and then start die grinding it. All right, so there it is. Obviously I'll have to clean it up with die grinder, but yeah, at least it's now chopped in and I've got the merge made, so I can now push it over. I know it's in the right spot. Still got my markings for the die grinder around it, and then I can stick it back in the jig and we can test her out. But yeah, that should be good. I'll just give it a snappy die grind up, and that way it's all nice and clean. If I put it back in the jig and it's good, I'll move the entire jig over. Jig, I say head, but you know, whatever, same thing. Yeah, we'll start to tack that in. Getting super excited. Okay, so we got it tacked up. Fit up's not exactly great, but that's okay because I'm going to weld that up anyway. I just wanted it tacked up so that I can now take it out of the jig and I can put it on the bench and finish the weld fit up and then actually start to weld it. So yeah, I'll take that flange off the top because that doesn't need to be welded on there just yet. I know it's all in the correct position too, just slide on and weld on afterwards, but for now we'll start welding everything else up. Whew, super exciting. Okay, so got a little bit carried away since we saw it last, but it's now fully welded. So it's all welded. I've got an old stuffed turbo that fits clamp to it, but yeah, it's all on there. And yeah, last thing I've got to do now is drill and tap that flange for the turbo studs, but I've got to line it up a bit better. It's literally just clamped there so you can see it. But yeah, I mean, that's it. What I'll do is I'll get around to making another video after I put it on and driven around with it. I mean, I know it's going to be a good thing. It's got to be better than the factory cast manifolds that keep cracking in the middle and basically falling in half. So yeah, also they have really bad sort of cylinder priority in them, and having the EGR mount at the front doesn't help either. You lose a lot of air out of that, even when you plate them off. Like it's just not the same. So this one with no dedicated EGR mount, all that exhaust gas is coming out of the cylinder one into the manifold, whereas before it had that flange at the front there, which is, yeah, kind of useless to anyone. But yeah, thanks to my trusty crusty old cylinder head and old knackered Garrett turbo. But yeah, that's it. She's done. I'll unclamp it and we'll show you what it looks like though on its own. That's it. So yeah, get a good look at it. There it is. Yep. So, it's all done. Now, like I said, I just can't wait to get it on Fat Steve Irwin and take it for a few laps and boost around with it and see what it does. Okay, so there it is in all its finished glory. I mean, studs on, mounted, whole lot, it's ready to go. Ceramic coated black. Hopefully that should make it last a bit. I've got to wind that stud in a bit further, but yeah, that's it. Now it's time to put it on, and yeah, eventually anyway. And then now I can start on my next project. You all know what that is. Brand new guard. Snorkel time. That's going to be it for this one, and yeah, hopefully I'll be back in a little bit more regularly and doing some other cool stuff. But yeah, I've kind of got some plans to do a lot of things with old fat Steve Irwin, just to make him a little bit more capable. I mean, end of the day, it's still a independent front, 4-wheel drive, so, you know, it's not exactly ever going to go massively into places that it probably shouldn't. But look, a little bit of a cheeky lift, airbox and snorkel mod, and yeah, that's about it. Cheers, fellas.